All right, I am extremely excited to be joined today by the promoter of Big West Wrestling, Marty Sugar. Marty, thanks so much for joining me today.
Glad to be here, bud.
Awesome. So tell me about your role with Big West and also tell me about how the company has evolved in the last few years.
Well, I mean, Big West has been around since 2011, and it started a little controversy. There was an issue back in Kelowna where wrestling wasn't going to be allowed at the Rutland Centennial Hall anymore. There've been some issues with previous wrestling promotions there. So, a gentleman who was president of the Rutland Centennial Park, it's these little venues that have their little park societies. Him and I put together Big West Wrestling. I had lived in Nanaimo and had watched wrestling die before VIPW supercharged it again. But there was a lull in Nanaimo wrestling, and I moved to Kelowna. I was like, I'm not living through this nonsense again. So we started Big West Wrestling, and we were plugging away for 15 years. There's been some really high highs and some super low lows, but so yeah, in the last little bit, we've evolved because uh, with thrash wrestling in the Okanagan has gotten very popular, and kudos to them for all their hard work. And they've really cornered the bigger towns. So I moved into back into the smaller towns where wrestling kind of used to be in the Okanagan and the interior, like Falkland and Enderby. But it's harder in these smaller towns to try and make big money. Like we could put on shows that were good and people had fun, but I'm not getting rich off this stuff. And so I got to the point here. I've lived 17 of the last 18 years here in Kelowna, and I'm almost 51. I turned 51 in 2 days, and I kind of just had enough. And a friend invited me to come move down to Burnaby, and I was like, you know what? Let's try a change of pace. I was born and raised in Vancouver Island. I've lived in the Okanagan. I've lived in Florida. I've lived in the Bahamas. I've lived in the Northwest Territories. Let's give the Lower Mainland a try and see what's what. And I've been there for 3 months, and I was done with wrestling, and he convinced me. Him and another guy convinced me to run Big West again in Surrey, and it was a hit. So we'll see where we go.
Hey, thanks for clicking on this video. To help support us, click that like button and make sure to hit subscribe. So a couple of things, I guess, based off of that. Happy early
Mhm.
birthday, and and you're like the what is it, the Johnny Cash song? I've been everywhere. Is that
Pretty
Johnny
much,
Cash?
man. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
that's
I lived a very full life long before I got into this wrestling business. So it's like, yeah, this is yeah.
that's probably helped you.
Hmm.
So 15 years that Big West has been around.
Yep.
Now, no matter where it's been performing.
Yep.
For someone that's never been to a Big West show, what can they expect?
The big thing with Big West is it's a lot more family friendly. There's a lot less resorting on blood, hardcore stuff. I try to get the guys not to be swearing at the kids. We're big on when my daughters were little. I wanted to put on shows that my kids would want to also come to, and so that's kind of where we're going for. We're going for the family atmosphere, like the good. I don't want to say the good old days because that's such a cliche. Because there's a lot of promotions to be like, we're like the good old days, and then it's like eight guys bleeding like stuck pigs. And it's like, okay, well that's a little too old days. But no, we like having where there's a community atmosphere. We have the young guys, like I said, we have families. I love when parents come up and go, oh, I used to watch Stampede with my grandpa, and now I bring my kid or whatever. And I've had a lot of those moments, and that's kind of what we're going for there. Is that full? It's not a yes, you can drink beer at our shows, but it's not like a nightclub show. It's a family show.
Well, I always say a lot on these conversations, we're spoiled as wrestling fans here. Like I can go to a show with kids or I can go to a show at a bar where you're gonna get that blood and gore. So to have the options is unbelievable.
And that's the one thing I like about. I had been away from the Lower Mainland for so long, and you're in Washington, yes, sir.
Nope, I'm in Vancouver.
Oh, I thought you were. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
all
cool.
good.
I take back all the negatives I was thinking about you in my head. No, no, but the Lower Mainland has so much wrestling and so many different, like you say, it's so many different things. I've never been to a Boom show before. I went to the Boom on New Year's Eve, and I got a couple older friends of mine. They're like, oh, I don't like the Boom style, and it's like, man, this place is packed. Like, you don't have to like it because 300 other people do. So cool. And it's like and then it's like there was a no ring show on Valentine's Day
Hmm.
at the Cobalt. Like that's crazy, right? And it's awesome. Like there's just so much. It's almost like the old days. If you've ever read Vance Nevada's old book, The History of Western Canadian Wrestling, uh, there used to be at a time in Vancouver where there were shows like 5 days a week, and it was like all up and down the strip and everywhere. And it was like it's like that almost again, and it's crazy. It's awesome.
Well, there's 10 promotions for whether it's on the island or in or on the mainland or whatever, like or it's all over the place, all the way up to
And
Prince George.
exactly, and the island to have two promotions running full bore and both having packed houses. That's like I said, I grew up, born and raised in Duncan, and we went through a dead zone of wrestling for a long time. And now it's like, yeah, you got two promotions that are packing places. You got all these guys, homegrown talent in Vancouver Island. Yeah, all the way up. Prince George is back up running again after all those years. Yeah, it's awesome. It's amazing.
I'm sure we could talk about other promotions and all how well it's doing in this area right now. But let's get back to Big West. Let's talk about
Yeah, to heck with them.
like you said, you recently branched out into Surrey, had your debut earlier this month. Talk about how that was and what it was like performing in front of the crowd there.
That's the thing, right? It's like I wasn't sure. We had a huge walk up, which I wasn't sure because a lot of promotions down in the Lower Mainland are all pre-sale maniacs. Like everything sold out, and we weren't. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then we had a huge walk up. We had to start the show late because we had such a big walk up crowd. And I was like, hey, sweet, awesome. We had to put on more chairs, like all the good things. And I was like, no, that's amazing, cool. But I was stressing it pretty hard.
Yeah, I bet. Like it's not like you want to run shows like that all the time, but if you have that interest, who cares, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm at a stage too where, like I said, if I stopped when I moved to Burnaby, I was fully done with wrestling. I was like, going to hang out with my buddies. Got a handful. After 25 years, I still have like 4 or 5 friends in wrestling. It's hard to keep friends in wrestling after that long, but I've got a couple of friends. We hang out. Almost never talk about wrestling. I would have been totally fine if I didn't do any wrestling. But Surrey wants wrestling, so we're going to give it to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You talked about guys like Brian Danielson, performing at Bridgeview Hall with ECCW and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some current names who we could possibly see a future with. So I had a interview with Matt Bronson, and he kind of credited
Yes.
you. He credited you for like the inception of the West Coast Heavies, and those guys are absolutely killing it. How does it feel to play
Mm-hmm.
like a part in a group like that?
I love those guys. They're such an interesting foursome, and yeah, they used to come up. Initially, they were the book club with Joe Funk, and they would come up and they'd travel together and they'd read books and they would like discuss books on the way up and back. I mean, they act like tough guys, but they're total nerds. And but no, that's and they kind of branched from there. I love Matt Bronson. The guy is he's such a good dude. He's so funny. In real life, he's a total sweetheart. I'm totally ruining his gimmick, but he's so charismatic, and I hadn't seen him in many years. Last year, I work for the Carnival now, travel through Western Canada, and last September, I showed up at a wrestling show, and most of the guys in the locker room were really cool, and 1 or 2 were just really not interested in seeing Marty Sugar. And Matt Bronson grabbed me, gave me a huge hug. He's like, "This is the guy," and it just made me feel so good. And he's one of those guys that just makes wrestling better. And it's guys like him, guys like Elliot Tyler, uh, just guys like that are out there that just make a locker room feel better. And those are the people you want around you all the time.
I had an interview with Jackie Lee, and he talked
Mm,
about how welcoming the locker rooms are nowadays compared to back in the day. So I mean, you've got 100 Elliot Tylers and Matt Bronsons in the world.
absolutely. Jackie Lee's another great example. He's so nice and he's so quiet, but he's also low key like super funny. And it's like he's so quiet, but he'll throw some zingers at you, and you're like, "Hey, wait a sec." No, yeah, lots of good people down here, man. Lots of good, and that's kind of when back in the early 2000s, the Lower Mainland was kind of a snake pit. Like it was backstabbing and just negative energy. And now these locker rooms are so positive that there's very few negative people, and either they've fixed their attitude or they just kind of don't come anymore because they don't. It's like using sage to get rid of the negative, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's the old joke. It's like, oh, I saged my house and then I woke up on the sidewalk, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of what happened in wrestling. Like we saged the place, and there's a couple guys outside going, I can't get in. Yeah, we know. That's kind of why we did it.
Yeah, you don't have a key anymore.
No, sorry. And you know what? And I tell these older guys, some of these older guys like me, they get angry because they can't communicate with these younger people. And it's like, it's not our game anymore. Bill Murray got in trouble. Bill Murray made a great quote once when all these older actors are getting in trouble for how they treated younger actors. And he's like, I'm an old dog and it's hard to learn new tricks, but I'd like to be kept around. And I think a lot of us older guys that are still around kind of figured that out. Like, this is the next generation. We got to work with them because we're going to be gone soon. And like, you could sit home and be bitter and miserable, or you could be involved and have fun. And I'd rather be involved and have fun.
Totally.
Yeah.
You obviously had your time in the wrestling business. Maybe share just one of your top memories as being a performer yourself.
Some of my some of my greatest memories are not so much matches, just great moments I've had with wrestlers and fans. I had a match one time in Penticton with Bambi Hall, and we hadn't there hadn't really been any intergender wrestling in the Okanagan, and her and I kind of introduced it to everybody. And initially, she was the bad guy. Everyone hated her until the first time we locked up. And then the second everyone started booing me because now I'm wrestling a woman. So it's like, all right, we leaned into this. We had this great feud. And we did this match in Penticton. The place was packed. And all these little kids were booing me. And I looked at this one little girl and I said, I'm going to beat her up. And she was all scared. And she's like, I know. And they were scared, like legitimately terrified. And then when Bambi beats me, these little kids, these little girls are jumping out of their seats. They're all excited. They're mocking me. And those are those moments where it's magic. It's live theater. And when you get the crowd in the palm of your hands, those are the moments. It's not about moves. It's not about whatever. It's not about the belts I've won or matches I've won. It's more the connection you make with the people. That's the that's the key stuff for me.
Totally. And
Yeah,
that's what it is with whether it's local wrestling or, top of the chain WWE. It's those moments that the fans and the wrestlers are going to remember.
1,000%. And the WWE is the best example of that because they pitch so much work in the crowd, and anyone that watches it, it's like this put your head down and do the work. Those guys don't really exist anymore. It's getting
Totally.
the crowd involved, getting the fans involved, and and that's when the magic happens.
So you talked about relationships, and you also talked about this gentleman earlier, Vance Nevada. You grew
Mm-hmm.
up in the business with him, one of your trainers.
Mm-hmm.
He just hung up the boots himself. Talk about your relationship with Vance Nevada.
I I been wanting to make a statement about Vance retiring, but it's hard. Vance was my first mentor. Him and I are the same age. He started in this business way before I did, but he he helped me in more ways, both positively and negatively, has helped shape me. We haven't always been seen eye to eye. We've been great friends. We've been bitter enemies. Uh, the man, there's, I would say, no one that knows more about wrestling history than Vance Nevada. The man is a full-on encyclopedia, and he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. The fact that he lasted as long as he's had so many serious, he's retired so many times. I messaged him and I said, I was going to message you about your retirement, but I know you're a damn liar. And he goes, no, this time it's legit. And I get it. Once the neck is like done, forget about it. And, but just the fact that he went out on his own terms with his head held high, and that's all you can ask for. Because we get to a certain age in this business, us older guys, it's the old saying, you either die a hero or live long enough to be the villain. And uh, some of us older guys are very polarizing. People either love us or hate us. There's not a lot of in between with people going, whatever. So you get to that stage where people kind of want to see you leave. And he went on his own terms, to his credit. And the man was a spectacular worker, excellent promo, brilliant wrestling mind, stubborn SOB. We argued a lot. We had good conversations, and we've had some pretty ugly arguments, but the guy has earned his flowers 100% as far as wrestling's concerned. And I'm just super happy to have been a part of his life, even in a small way. And I'm so thankful for what he's given me as a wrestler and as a promoter and then as just as a mentor. And yeah, I wish him all the best, man.
It's nice having those relationships in a business like this where you can look back pretty fondly
He's
on.
going to be stunned. He's going to be stunned. The second you mention his name, he's going to be stressed out that I got to say something negative. But he's always waiting for me to bury him. I was like, I got no reason to bury you, man.
Totally. That's
none
awesome.
of us, none of us are any good. We're going to bury you. You bury me. Oh, cool, awesome.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, or
Oh
whatever.
man, I've ridden the roads with that guy so many times. In 2008, I thought my career was done, and he just helped me move on and realize that there's so many green pastures. But back in 2008, there was either one or go out on the road. And it was like, okay, we're going on the road because this one pasture ain't doing it for me. And that's what I always tell the young guys, if you're not happy where you're at, go try somewhere else. Go expand your horizons. Right. And he taught me that. And I've always been that way.
And I'm sure, you've passed on a lot of messages from him that you learned onto anybody that you've kind of helped within your promotions as well.
I still quote his stuff. We were talking business the other day, and I still quote stuff that Vance taught me 20 years ago. Yeah.
So talking about your past, let's kind of look back ahead on a couple more things here for Big West. Just a couple more questions. Thank you so much. You've been really generous with your time.
No,
Uh,
no problem.
you guys just took over Surrey. You're looking to do more shows there. Do you guys have any other cities that you're looking to target at all?
I'm not sure yet. That's the big thing is that I don't want to be stepping on toes down here. That's not the point. It's so easy to get into ugly turf wars and guys just swinging their wallets around. And my wallet is very small. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I have wallet envy for a lot of these promoters, but I just want to go to places where wrestling hasn't been for a long time or wrestling hasn't been at all and see what we can do. There's a lot of young guys out here that need their reps. And the big thing with Big West up in Enderby and Falkland, the show's been very big. We're drawing 20, 30, 40 people. But it was for a lot of young guys that, first of all, you got to make the drives when you're young. And the drive up to the Okanagan can suck. And so the young guys that do the drive, you only got 20, 30 people to perform, but you're free to make mistakes and learn. It's like, oh, that match wasn't great, but these are the things that were great. And this is how you'll get better. And that's what I was I don't want to say I was the NXT of Pacific Northwest, but it was like I was like definitely double A ball. And you went down there to get your reps. You went down to Big West, get your reps, and get better. And now that I'm down here, I'd like to offer the same. There's so much great talent, and there's so much young talent that's not getting the opportunity. Some of them are pushing to get the opportunity, but some of them are, and they're just kind of stuck. And that's what we're about. Powell River is another big town. Before I continue on about the Lower Mainland, Powell River over on the Sunshine Coast. We do that 2, 3, 4 times a year. It's a great spot. We do great fundraiser there for the Brooks Secondary School and their dry grad. And so that's our 2 main towns. And hopefully, once they come back from the carnival season in the fall, we can get back up into Falkland and Enderby and kind of rerun things there again. But everything's kind of up in the air. Next 6 months, it's just I'm letting my office kind of run things without me, and we'll see where it goes.
Sounds good. It's nice that you've got a couple of your territories and you've got a mindset to help grow the industry.
And I've got guys that want to help. I've had guys that always wanted to help before, but unfortunately, a lot of times when guys say they want to help in the office, they want to pull like a Kevin Nash and just book themselves on top and then and that's it. It's like, no, there's more to it than just giving yourself the belt and strutting around like you're, the king of Big West Wrestling. You got to there's all the other little bits. And so I'm the guys I got in the office now, they're figuring it out. There's a lot of work to do, but they're game. And that's what's awesome.
For sure. So talk about any of the upcoming shows that Big West Wrestling has.
We're back in May in Surrey at Sullivan Hall again. And Matt Bronson, as we've discussed, he won the 2026 Grapple Bowl. It guarantees him a shot at the Big West Championship. And we're slowly in the process of unifying. There was 3 Big West titles, television title, which is our old one, internet title, and a coastal championship. They're kind of going to get semi-unified February 27th when Becky Beats, the coastal champ, takes on our new champ, Filipino Freak Tisoy, with all the belts on the line. The winner of that match goes on in May 16th to face Matt Bronson. So, and then hopefully by the end of the summer, we'll have one big new shiny new belt done by CW Productions, and we'll have a nice new shiny belt that's like the Big West champ. But that's all in the works.
Multiple things in the works for
There's so many things are going on. Like I just kind of put stuff off because it's like we're on we need a new belt. Yeah, but we're on the end run here. It's like when you get to the end of your wrestling career, you don't want to buy a new pair of boots. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to waste another 20 years in these boots. But now I've got guys that want to do the work and help me do the work, and so I don't have to do it all myself. And so yeah, let's do that. We're thinking about tag titles. We're thinking about all types of stuff. So yeah, lots of balls in the air.
Lots of places to catch Big West as well. So
100%.
Lots of good things happening. Again, thank you so much for your time today, Marty. It's been a pleasure hearing about kind of the history of Big West and everything like that. Unless you have anything else to plug, thank you so much for your time.
No, it's also I want to plug. If you want to check out, it's Big West Okanagan on the X. If anyone still uses that sludge pile anymore, Big West Wrestling on Instagram, Big West Wrestling on Facebook, Marty Sugar. When you look him up, when you look up Marty Sugar online, look up Marty Sugar. There's a fake Marty Sugar account out there slander my name. Don't look that up. It's toxic as hell. Internet is very toxic. Children, try to do better. Try to do stuff like random acts of wrestling and be positive.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, Marty.
My pleasure, dude.